पंचायत है, ये मंदिर है, कौन सी लाइट है, कहाँ डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफॉर्मर है. This will be available for 18452 villages within 3 months. मंत्री जी ने 31 मार्च बोला था, पर हम 2 मंथ डिले चल रहे बिकॉज गेटिंग लाइव. एंड सर ये देखें, अब जो भी फोटोग्राफ ऐप में आता है, इट कम्स विद हैबिटेशन एंड अलॉन्ग विद द हैबिटेशंस कम्स कितने हाउस होल्ड है. सो दिस इज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग सर. दिस फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम आपके कहने पर हमने जो किया था, हर ऐप के नीचे एक हमने कॉलम बना दिया है, कितने एचटी हैं, कितने एलटी लाइन है, कितने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ट्रांसफार्मर है, हाउस होल्ड एंड ई हाउस होल्ड. इस हैबिटेशन में 30 हाउस होल्ड है, 30 इलेक्ट्रीफाइड है, उसमें 35, इसमें 60 है, लेकिन सिर्फ 40 इलेक्ट्रीफाइड है. तो हर हाउस होल्ड विल बी इलेक्ट्रीफाइड. एंड जो हाउस होल्ड में बिजली नहीं है उसका रीजन दिया जाएगा, वेदर दे कैनॉट अफोर्ड इट और दे डोंट वांट इट और दे आर माइग्रेटरी. ऑल दीज 18452 विलेजेस में जितने हाउस होल्ड हैं, सबका डाटा विल बी कलेक्टेड थ्रू दिस ऐप सर. So this is the strategy which you had told us last 10 days to work on this, sir. The rest, these are the photographs. Just wanted to show, sir, how at times we have to go by boats, how we have to go by. Just coming, sir.
Feedback mechanism.
Has a feedback mechanism, has sir. This is the feedback mechanism both on Twitter as well as on the website app itself, sir.
You know, I would urge all of you to please monitor our performance. If we go wrong, let us know. Tell us where you think we could do better. If you get some feedback from any part of the country, any village, frankly, I didn't know it's such a formal interaction. I thought गप्पा गुप्पा मार के गपशप करेंगे और चर्चा करेंगे. ये stage setting I didn't realize that this is all planned. But then I'm glad because we got to see this also.
Sir, last week we started the newsletter. This week's newsletter is just now out. I just like you to on it. Sure. Sure.
Sir, now I request you to facilitate Shri Dinesh Arora. सर, अब please say a few words, please.
स्टार्टिंग में सर 14 अक्टूबर को सर जब पहला इनॉग्रेशन हुआ था तो सर ने ही किया था और सर ने हमें बताया था कि अभी आप एक मुहिम में जाने वाले हो जहां आज से 10 साल बाद अगर किसी को पता चलेगा कि आप उस मुहिम के हिस्से थे तो आपको एक गर्व होगा अपने ऊपर कि हाँ मैं मतलब आपको बताने में एक गर्व फील होगा कि हाँ मैं इस मुहिम का हिस्सा था जिसमें हमने 18,452 गांव को विद्युतीकृत किया था। और मैं अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताना चाहता हूं, जब मैं पहली बार गांव में गया जहां लोगों के पास बिजली नहीं थी और मैंने उनको बताया कि मैं आया हूं आपके गांव में बिजली पहुंचाने के लिए, तो ऐसा लगा कि जैसे कोई भगवान आया है उनके पास, और मतलब इतना मेरा सेवा करना, जैसे कि साहब आए हैं, प्लीज बैठिए सर यहाँ पर, पानी पीजिए, मिठाई खाइए, और मतलब उस समय लगा कि नहीं सही में हम लोग एक ऐसा काम कर रहे हैं कि वी डिजर्व दिस, मतलब हमें जो है मतलब इतना इतना आदर मिल रहा था, हम ये सोच के लग रहा था कि हम कितना बड़ा काम कर रहे हैं। अभी क्या है, जैसे कहीं पे भी रुकावट आती है तो हम अपने सीनियर ऑफिशियल से बात करते हैं कि सर यहां बिजली नहीं पहुंच पा रही है, या फिर मतलब कहीं डिस्कॉम में अगर कोई कॉन्ट्रैक्टर लेट कर रहा है तो वहां बात करते हैं। मतलब ऐसा रहता है कि कैसे भी करके जितनी जल्दी हो सके हम इस गांव में बिजली पहुंचाएं, और जब भी गांव वालों के पास जाते हैं बस उसी आस से देखते हैं वो कि कब हमारे यहां बिजली पहुंचेगी। लेकिन जिस दिन जब बिजली पहुंच जाती है ना तो बहुत खुशी होती है उनके अंदर, और बहुत ज्यादा धन्यवाद देते हैं हमें। थैंक यू सर।
Now I invite Shri Venkatesh Dwivedi, GM Technical EESL, to come and brief on the Dell dashboard and the achievements made there. Please.
Good afternoon. Sir, I'm making the brief presentation on the DEL program, which is the DSM-based Efficient Lighting Program. इस प्रोग्राम का उद्घाटन हमारे प्रधानमंत्री ने जनवरी 2015 में किया था, और इसका ऑब्जेक्टिव था जो हमारे पूरे देश में 77 करोड़ बल्ब हैं उनको हमको एलईडी बल्ब्स में कन्वर्ट करना है। इनकैंडेसेंट बल्ब जो है इनएफिशिएंट होते हैं, ज्यादा एनर्जी कंज्यूम करते हैं, और उसमें हीट एमिशन ज्यादा होता है। सो 60 watt bulb is getting converted by a 7 watt bulb or a 9 watt bulb now, sir, as states are saying कि हमको 9 watt bulb आप दीजिए। तो सर इसमें there are two national programs specifically for the bulb program. We are been given a target of 77 crore bulbs to be replaced in a matter of 3 years, slightly more than 3 years. Or just a couple of days back, we have reached the target of 7 crores within a few months only, in a matter of 11 months. And in fact, the last 1 crore we have achieved in less than 1 month, around 20 days. इसमें हमारी एनर्जी एफिशिएंसी के साथ साथ ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज एमिशंस पे भी कंट्रोल होगा, और इसमें जो यूजर्स हैं, इंडिविजुअल यूजर्स, द कस्टमर्स विल आल्सो बी एबल टू सेव ऑन द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल, वेरिंग फ्रॉम 60 रुपीज टू 400 रुपीज पर बल्ब। साथ ही साथ जो पावर कंपनीज हैं जिनको पीक डिमांड के टाइम, जैसे आप इवनिंग में शाम के 7 बजे से लेकर 9 बजे तक एक पीक पावर कंजम्पशन का एक टाइम होता है, उस समय अगर एफिशिएंट बल्ब्स यूज किए जाएंगे या एफिशिएंट अप्लायंसेज यूज किए जाएंगे तो ये एनर्जी कंजम्पशन घट जाएगी। थ्रू अ ट्रांसपेरेंट प्रोसेस ऑफ प्रोक्योरमेंट, where we have started procuring around 1.5 years back, we've been able to bring down the price of LED bulbs from around 310 rupees to just around 65 rupees now. और आप देख सकते हैं इसमें हम लोग जो प्रोक्योरमेंट कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज नाउ वी कवरिंग द एंटायर कंट्री, करीब 100 से ज्यादा शहरों में डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन चल रहा है। 8 शहरों में हम कंप्लीट कर चुके हैं। एवरी डे वी आर डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग अराउंड 3 लाख बल्ब्स टू ऑर्डिनरी कस्टमर्स। और इससे 2 चीजें हो रही हैं, एक तो जो कॉमन मैन है
3 लाख होगा, और 20 दिन में आपने 1 करोड़ किया, उसमें छुट्टियां भी आती हैं, संडे भी आता है।
सर एवरेज ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ
वो तो पुरानी बात हो गई ना। तो अभी कितना डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो रहा है पर डे? इट हैज टू बी 6 lakhs, अदरवाइज यू कांट डू 1 crore in 20 days.
करेक्ट सर, करेक्ट।
लॉजिकली आई एम जस्ट थिंकिंग इन 20 days देयर विल बी 3 Sundays, तो 17 दिन रह गए। ऑल्टरनेट सैटरडेज इज अ हॉलीडे, तो 16 दिन रह गए, 15 या 16 दिन।
Yes, sir.
और 1 करोड़ आपने अगर
Correct.
20 दिन में दिया तो 6 लाख नहीं कर रहे हो तो कर ही नहीं सकते हो।
जी, राइट सर।
तो जो 6 लाख बल्ब 1 साल में हुए थे 2013-14 में 6 लाख बल्ब पूरे वर्ष में ESL ने बेचे थे, डिस्ट्रीब्यूट किए थे. ऑफ कोर्स दाम की तो पूछो मत, वो तो 80% कम हो गया. वो 6 लाख बल्ब एक साल में होने वाला प्रोग्राम आज 6 लाख बल्ब रोज होता है. एवरी डे 6 lakh bulbs are given out. That is the extent of change. और लोग कई बार रिफॉर्म प्राइवेटाइजेशन कब कर रहे हो, बार बार हर बार जो मेरे पास पत्रकार आता है, मेरा कोई पिंक पेपर से या बिजनेस चैनल से कोई दुश्मनी नहीं है, लेकिन उनको बहुत ज्यादा ये उत्सुकता रहती है कि प्राइवेटाइजेशन कब हो रहा है, कब आप कंपनी को बेच दोगे. ये कोई मैं चैलेंज करता हूं, दुनिया की कोई कंपनी, देश तो छोड़ो प्राइवेट कंपनी, जो ESL के जैसा काम कर सके, जो सरकारी कंपनी है, जिसने 6 लाख महीने प्रति वर्ष से प्रति दिन कर दिया. 6 lakh bulbs a year becomes 6 lakh bulbs a day. I'm happy to challenge anybody in the world to do this in the private sector. Only a government company with government employees, because they are committed to the leadership of Prime Minister Modi, they could scale it up to this level.
So in this scheme, sir, we are providing 2 to 10 high quality 9-watt bulbs, and consumers can pay upfront 100 rupees, or they can pay 10 rupees upfront and get the balance amount recovered through the electricity.
अब ये 100 को और कम करिए आगे के लिए. I think 100, अभी आपका दाम कम होते जा रहे हैं, तो we can review this 100.
We will do it, sir. Yes. And इसमें sir 3 years का warranty है. So we are committed to replace these bulbs in case of any defects for a period of 3 years. In the distribution which has already taken place, there is a fault rate of less than 1%, and this is also being monitored through an online monitoring of the program through the app delp.in, जहां real time पे हम लोग इसको demonstrate कर रहे हैं, the actual distribution taking place, the greenhouse gases.
The figure right now, if you go on to Delp, I don't know how many of you are on that app on your phone. It's just changed again. It's 7 crore 3 lakh 35,867. 7 crore 3 lakh number already. Yesterday it was 7 crore, yesterday evening I think. Go ahead.
So इसमें सर 2-3 तरह के मॉडल हैं, डिपेंडिंग ऑन हर स्टेट क्या चाहती है. जो पावर कंपनी है और जो कस्टमर्स हैं उनके हिसाब से 2 अलग तरह के मॉडल्स बने हैं. एक ऑन बिल फाइनेंसिंग है जिसमें कस्टमर टोटल अमाउंट पे कर रहा है, एंड देन देयर इज अ डिस्कॉम रिकवरी मॉडल वेयर द पावर कंपनी इज पेइंग फॉर द एनर्जी सेविंग्स विच आर टेकिंग प्लेस इन द सिस्टम. So implementation experience has been very good.
Speed it up.
Yes, sir. This is the Delp tool which.
आप अपने प्रेजेंटेशन में इतनी पुरानी स्लाइड यूज
Sir,
कर
we
रहे
are moving so fast that from 5.97 we have jumped to 7 in a matter of few days. I'm sorry for this. And measurement and verification, there is a third-party verification of the distribution taking place, the savings which are coming. उसका एक third-party neutral agency के द्वारा verification भी होता है. That's it, sir.
Good.
Sir, now I invite you to facilitate Dr. Venkatesh, Mr. Venkatesh Dwivedi ji.
Actually, on this Delp app, if you go down, you'll also find the locations where these bulbs are available. So, like in Delhi, you can press the Delhi thing, you'll get the Delhi number. It's 57,37,539. That's in Delhi. And then along with that, you have a list of addresses where these bulbs, anybody can go with this electricity bulb and can take it. So let's say if somebody lives in Shahadra, he can go to substation building GT Road, Shahadra, adjacent to Hind Pocket Books, and he can get the bulb. Somebody lives in East Patel Nagar, there's an address. Somebody lives in Janakpuri, there's an address. So all over the city, there are different points where you can go and get it.
Thank you, sir. Now I request you for making a remark, sir. Sir.
Thank you, Malhotra ji, colleagues from the ministry and my dear friends from the media. Thank you very much for joining us. I honestly had the impression it's an informal luncheon get-together, we are just going to chat. But this was probably conceptualized by my colleagues. Thank you very much because it gave us a lot of information which even I had not had a chance to review for a long time. And my compliments both to the rural electrification team led by Mr. Rajiv Sharma and Dinesh, who's executive director, and other colleagues, and the team handling the LED program, the EESL, Energy Efficiency Services Limited, which has crossed 7 crores. I think आज का दिन 7 अच्छा है. कल सेंसेक्स 7 वर्ष बाद 777 पॉइंट बढ़ी थी और आज हमने 7,000 विलेजेस क्रॉस, कितना 6,000 क्रॉस किया और 7,000 का लक्ष्य नक्की कर लिया और 7 करोड़ बल्ब भी हो गए. तो somehow I think 7 needs to be celebrated today. But compliments to all the colleagues who have done such good work. Mr. Tarun Kapoor is also here, Joint Secretary from the Renewable Energy Ministry. I must compliment their team also for having a plan to do 18,000 megawatt of solar projects bidding within 1 year by March 31st, 2016. Tarun ji, कितना हो चुका है अभी तक? 70,000 Wow. 70,000 has already been tendered. We still have 28 days. I'm sure you'll cross your 18,000. Excellent. So 18,000, मेरा पानी का glass नहीं. 18,000 megawatt will be tendered out in the current year itself. 17,000 already done. And I have my colleague from the Ministry of Coal, Mr. Sinha. And that's another thing which we have talked about extensively. I think all of you are well aware. From a situation of 2/3 of the power plants starved of coal when Prime Minister Modi's government came in. And if you recall, October, November 2014, when the coal blocks had just got cancelled by the Supreme Court, all of you used to write screaming headlines about possibly country becoming dark with no power in the country. I don't know, public memory is short. At least your memory is sharp enough to remember those bad days. From there, we have reached a situation that not one power plant in the country, not one, has critical coal stock. Am I right, Mr. Sinha? Zero. Zero power plants in the country have critical stock. At an average, all of them together have over 25 days of stock. We dread any phone call. Right from me down to the secretary, additional secretary, joint secretary, Coal India chairman, subsidiaries chairman. Our biggest fear is if any government official calls up from any of the states or from any of the power plants. Not because earlier like it used to be, if somebody calls, I remember Prakash Singh Badalji calling, you remember? Can we get 3 rakes more for Punjab power plants? My assurance, my following up, contacting rail ministry, all those days are over. Now a call from any state means mar gaye. Ek aur state bolega koila mat bhejo. That is the situation. And I must compliment you, we are at a growth over 9% in Coal India Limited. Growth in the SECL is 24% right now, growth in production. So I think big compliments to colleagues from all the 3 ministries who have done outstanding work in the last 21 months, 22 months now. And I'm delighted that the Honorable Finance Minister also has supported us in very big measure through various interventions in his budget, be it the allocation that he gave to Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gram Jyoti Yojana and the Integrated Power Development Scheme. Both these schemes have received a record allocation of about 8,500 crores. We've received 8,500 crores, and the plan outlay for the Ministry of Power has been increased from 6,800 crore to 12,200 crores. So overall, I think there's a great deal of encouragement being given to our sector. The Power System Development Fund, PSDF, through which we have been able to revive more than 11,000 megawatt of stranded gas-based power plants, has also received an increased allocation from 300 crores in 15-16 to 1,900 crores this year. So that is the extent of commitment of the Modi government to reaching power to every part of the country, to making sure every citizen, every farmer of this country gets power. And I'm extremely delighted that Honorable Finance Minister has supported our efforts with significantly increased allocation by nearly 66% in rural electrification and upgradation of last mile connectivity, and of nearly 500% in the Power System Development Fund. There are several other measures which I'll briefly highlight in the budget, which encourage the power sector, encourage the growth of renewable energy sector, and give a boost in the days to come to bring down the cost of power as a part of the Uday program, which we have launched a few months ago very successfully. About 17 states are already committed to joining. 2 or 3 states are on the verge of joining. Large states, all run by opposition parties.
Today also Tripura and Manipur have agreed to join.
Okay, so the figure keeps changing. We'll have to have an app for that also probably. So now Tripura and Manipur have agreed to join today. You are all aware that 6 important states, including Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, have also concluded their agreements with us. Bhai wo MOU word ko hi change kar dijiye. MOU is of the old days. We didn't have legal sanctity. All of these are legally binding documents. They are made on stamp paper, and commitments are made by me also as central government, and by the state government, and by the DISCOM about what each one of us will do. But let me highlight some of the issues in the budget. Transmission has been an area of focus for this government. You are well aware that we have met the targets of transmission enhancement, growth in transmission lines last year, and in the current year we have already exceeded the target. Am I right? Am I right? This year we have already exceeded the target in transmission. So we are now further challenging ourselves to see how much more we can do by March. But both years have been a record 2 years where transmission lines have exceeded target. And I think many of you will remember transmission was one area where center and states used to always fight and blame each other. We have now met me so many times. Have you even heard me once complain about the problems because of which we can't do anything? Because we take them into confidence, we work in a spirit of partnership, in a spirit of brotherhood, and we take the message of Prime Minister Modi of working as Team India seriously and implement it on the ground. And I'm glad to report to you that we have exceeded targets both years. South India and the northeastern states have been the biggest beneficiaries of our transmission push. In South India, we have added 71% capacity. 71% capacity increase in South India. Northeast has benefited with a large thrust both in transmission and distribution. I think we approved nearly 10,000 crore rupees of transmission lines in Northeast India alone. And further, the Finance Minister has allowed additional depreciation for transmission companies of 20% additional depreciation over cost of new machinery and plants acquired, which will give a big boost not only to encourage transmission sector growth, but also bring down the price. So when we couple it with our tariff policy, which has stipulated that all new transmission lines should be bid out, and we add this benefit that Honorable Finance Minister has given, it will reduce the transmission cost in the country. I am happy to inform all of you, PFC and REC have both been included in the list of companies which will be allowed to raise bonds during 16-17, which will give additional resources to both these companies to finance different aspects of the power chain, transmission, generation, renewable energy, mining for power sector. They are happy to support all these sectors, and they are flush with funds, and they have significant capital adequacy also. So I would appeal to all people who are looking to invest in the power sector to aggressively come and expand their investments in the power sector. Our companies are looking for good, credible borrowers in the days to come. By the way, every time I do a public engagement, I've instructed my people the power should go away once, so that it's a check on me. It's a reality check for me all the time that I have to work harder. The scheme for utilization of gas to encourage the gas plants to get started has given very good results. 11,000 megawatt have already been the beneficiaries of that scheme. I just told you the amount has been increased from 300 to 1900 crores. There was one problem which was always creating some uncertainty. When gas was transmitted from one state to another, there was some problem about the VAT, and which was delaying the implementation of that in some cases. I am happy to inform all of you that the Honorable Finance Minister has amended Section 3 of the CST Act and brought in an explanation that where the gas is sold or purchased and transported through a common carrier pipeline or any other common transport distribution system becomes commingled and fungible with other gas in the pipeline, such gas is introduced into the pipeline or system in one state and taken out in another state, such sale or purchase shall be deemed to be a movement of goods from one state to another. So permanently now this problem has been resolved and will result in the VAT being applicable only on CST rate, which to my mind should be 2%. I would guess estimate it should be 2%. So this one problem which was causing a delay in implementing the scheme has been set to rest, and now that will take a further, or if I may say, it will take a further boost to encourage gas-based clean energy in this country. I'm also happy to inform you that any valid agreement between importers or producers of power with urban local bodies for processing of municipal solid waste, if it is longer than a 10-year, so long-term PPA, any long-term PPA will be considered as an alternative condition for availing concessional customs excise duty benefits if it is based on municipal and urban waste. You are all aware that in the tariff policy we had allowed compulsory purchase of any solid waste or any waste-based power generation into the state grid. That was a double benefit. One is the landfills would not get that much waste. We could process this waste and make compost and energy. The waste to wealth program that Prime Minister has often talked about. But also the benefit of Swachhata. It would encourage collection of garbage and processing and converting to wealth. So Swachhata Abhiyan and waste to wealth both will benefit. With this new provision of exemption in custom and excise duty for plants or PPAs, plants which have a PPA of waste to energy, will further bring down the cost of energy from solid waste and urban waste and will help these plants to come up faster. The PPA, of course, is guaranteed by the tariff policy already. I'm delighted to inform all of you that to further encourage renewable energy and our environmental commitments. And you are all aware that this government, as a responsible global citizen, believes that protecting the environment is an article of faith for all of us, particularly for the Prime Minister. We are very keen to enhance our renewable energy fivefold to 175 gigawatts, and we are very keen to clean the rivers of this country. Our Namami Gange program, which focuses its efforts to clean Ganga, also has the dimension of cleaning all the major rivers of this country and then taking it to the next level to the smaller rivers. So we are not talking of only cleaning Ganga. The Yamuna is equally important for us, and all the rivers in this country will be a focus of our clean water campaign. To support that and provide additional funds, all coal that is used in this country, whether domestic or imported, all coal will have a levy of a environment cess of 400 rupees. The earlier cess on coal under the clean energy cess will be withdrawn, and now there will be only one cess of 400 rupees a ton, which will be for clean environment and which will help us support renewable energy, help us support research and development for clean coal technologies. We want to go in for carbon capture and sequestration. We want to develop new technologies for underground coal gasification, promote coal bed methane technologies. For all of these, coupled with the Namami Gange program and the Clean River program, various initiatives of environment will be supported with this 400 rupees cess, which to my mind will give the government nearly 40,000 crore rupees by next year or latest by the year after next. And that 40,000 crore rupees will give a great, if I may use the phrase, it will give wings to our project to clean the environment, something which all of us, including all of you journalists from Delhi, I think are very deeply concerned about. I'm very happy also to report to you the report on the rural electrification has already been presented to you. We have crossed 6,000 villages. Let's see, they say it's a real-time update. एक बार देख लें रियल टाइम करते हैं कि ऐसे ही हमें बोलते हैं. I have not left them enough time to do anything. क्यों भाई फिगर नहीं आ रहा है?
6,015. 6,015.
6015. The figure is 6015. So it was 5999 when we started. 16 villages in the course of this press conference, since it has now become a press conference from a press lunch. And actually I'm not prepared. I'm reading from a paper that I have just corrected because they put it up to me. Just in the car when I was coming, I said, what is this? They said, it's for your talking points. I said, what do I have to talk? They said, no, you have to mention these things. And that's why I got a little late. I was sitting in the car outside this place, sorting this paper out. Okay, then to support the Make in India program, a lot of inverted duty structures have been corrected in this budget, and I think the Honorable FM mentioned that he has focused his efforts to correct the inverted duties. Let me highlight a few. Heavy earth-moving machinery, which is used for setting up power plants, which is used in coal mines, dumpers, for example. The customs duty has been enhanced from 7.5% to 10%, so that domestic production can get a further fillip and boost. It will support Make in India. Similarly, they have removed the exemption in custom duty on solar tempered glass and anti-reflected coated glass, which was earlier 0, has now been made 5%, so that domestic glass manufacturers get a support. One very big, and there are some other items, I won't read all of them. Solar lamps are being exempted from excise duty, which is 25% to nil, so that they become cheaper and we can use them in a bigger fashion, particularly where off-grid solutions are being used. In remote villages where taking the grid may take more time. We are building off-grid solutions. To support that and support that being made in India, excise duty has been removed on that. Customs duty on industrial solar water heaters has been increased from 7.5% to 10%, again to support Make in India. So several such efforts have been done. One very delightful announcement which I am particularly happy about, and it's not only for my ministry but across India. I think this is one of the most important announcements. Somehow it got left out in the reporting and in the television debates of that day. But I had been talking about this for a long time, and I'm delighted that this has been brought in. It is a special patent regime with 10% rate of tax on income from exploitation of patents. So patents developed in India, when they are used all over the world, the income from that patent will be given a concessional income tax of only 10%. To my mind, this is a game-changing decision. It's an outstanding decision, and I think NTPC and all our companies will take benefit from this and give a further thrust to research and development in the days to come. Because, and I mention this to you because Prime Minister often tells me, and I might have shared with some of you in my conversations, he says India cannot be always following the world. India should now lead the world. So whether it is the LED program today, we are leading the world. We are the largest consumers anywhere in the country. Our share, global share of LED has gone up from 0.1% to 12% in 1 year. That is the extent of growth. So India should start leading the world in research and development. Our coal company, I think, is tying up, we already had an engagement with Australia, which had lapsed for lack of funds. In my visit in Australia, I have discussed with them. I have promised them whatever funds are required, there will be no shortage. But let's continue the joint research and development with Australia and India to try and develop new clean coal technologies. Similarly, if I'm not mistaken, I think we are in dialogue with MIT. We are in dialogue with MIT. One of my earlier visits when I had gone to US for the Indo-US Energy Dialogue. And I think by now all of you are aware, our energy dialogues are not just an energy dialogue government to government. The energy dialogue is 5% of a 95% additional engagement on various other aspects of the energy sector. So I'm delighted to inform you I had extensive discussions with MIT when I visited Boston, and I spent about 3 hours at MIT, and we discussed what they are doing on clean coal technologies. And I think now the department, coal companies and MIT are trying to work out a framework to fast track development of clean coal, particularly since India will be one of the larger consumers of coal. We will continue to use coal to serve the poor and deprived sections of society, to give them affordable energy. But as a global conscious citizen, we want to try and clean our coal, use supercritical and ultra supercritical coal-based power plants, process coal by setting up large amount of washeries, which we are doing. 112 million tons of washery capacity will be up and about by October 2017. All of this is an integrated and holistic vision of these three ministries, working as one, working as literally as one ministry, seamlessly, supporting each other's efforts. Coal India has already, I think, approved 1,000 megawatt of solar power. And I'm informally informed by my colleagues in coal that ye to sirf trailer hai. Hajar is only a trailer. They have, I think, very, very much higher ambitious, higher targets and ambitions on solar power. I don't know, their board will have to take a final call on that. But I'm told informally that this was only to kind of test the market. And now with the new 34 paisa and 4 rupees 63 paisa, it will of course vary tender to tender and bid to bid. But when Coal India takes out a bid, I'm sure it will be the lowest bids because their balance sheet is probably the best in the country. So I'm very, very confident that the days ahead for coal, for renewable energy, and together with both of them for power are extremely exciting. They have great days ahead. The LED program is going to save 40,000 crore rupees for all of you, for the consumers of India. I would urge each one of you, if you have not put in LEDs, do it today, not tomorrow. Because you'll start saving on your electricity bill today. And you can judge for yourself. Any middle class common man's home, the largest part of his electricity consumption is lights and fans. I think fans is the next thing they are introducing very soon. They're going to introduce a fan which is cheaper than a regular fan in the market, but almost 30% or 25-30% more energy efficient, right? 25 to 30% more energy efficient fan. ESL is shortly introducing. They've already tendered 1,000 rupees or thereabouts is their price, as against 1,500 rupee market price today. Of course, there'll be taxes and all that on it, but it'll be a energy efficient, cheaper fan. So, LED bulbs, then fans, and for all of those rich journalists who are using a lot of air conditioners in their homes, well, I'm sure your companies must be paying you well for all the criticism that you do of the government. But on a lighter note, this is off the record. मैं अगर joke करना भी गुनाह है तो फिर आगे से हम joke भी करना बंद कर देंगे. But we'll soon come out with highly energy efficient air conditioners, also on payment plans, so that you can pay for the air conditioner as you save money. But of course, you'll have to remove those old inefficient air conditioners and have them destroyed. I don't want them to go and be used somewhere else and continue to be inefficient. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us. We'll continue an informal chat over lunch. Please feel free to come and ask me anything you want to ask. We won't do a formal, you want to do a formal Q&A for some time? थोड़ा प्यार से, इतना नाराज से नहीं. Okay, we'll have a formal Q&A and then we'll have an informal lunch and discussions. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for coming for this afternoon's interaction. I'm sorry if I have taken more time in talking, but I do believe both the work of the ministry needs to be encouraged, because after all, they are all your colleagues, they are all your brothers and sisters who are putting in day and night. Believe me, each of these three ministries are working day and night. And I'm taking Prime Minister's slogan down to them also. And you know which slogan I'm referring to. The two slogans which have been quite famous and have been discussed very often. Na khayenge, na khane denge, na soenge, na sone denge. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving a detailed overview of the three sectors. Now I request the media friends to, we'll take a few questions, one by one. Just, we'll give the chance to everyone.
Somebody give a mic. वो बहुत उत्तेजित थे, उनका पहले पूछ रहे थे.
Venki will take first question. Please, mic is there.
चलो ऐसे ही चलेगा. आवाज आपकी बुलंद है.
Availability of the power in those areas, whether the state have the sufficient power to take care of.
Very good question, sir.
Number one. No, I'm coming to.
Oh, there are many questions.
Now I draw your attention that you are in charge of in charge of one of the election going state, that is Tamil Nadu. Now, sir, you mentioned about the gas pipeline project. Now I want to draw your attention that Kerala to Mangalore, the pipeline project which is pending for a long time. Now the Supreme Court has given some direction to proceed further. But the fact is, in Kerala and Karnataka, the company GAIL agreed to lay the pipelines on the side of the national highway. Whereas why they are so adamant insisting on putting the pipe only in the mid of the agriculture land in Tamil Nadu only. Number two. Number three, you mentioned about the solar energy. You are proud to say that you achieved something. Whereas in Tamil Nadu, a couple of days back, the principal opposition party, Adani, there is a issue, a detailed investigation on the Adani project, which has got 6,000 crores, 1,200 crore project. Would you like to react to all the three questions?
Let's take some more. अच्छा एक का करा कि क्या करा? अच्छा. Okay, thank you. State's capacity to buy power obviously was a big challenge which is why Uday was brought in the first place. Everybody in this room knows that states were all stressed. The joke was that if you buy more power, you make more loss. Uday's purpose is to bring down the cost of power, bring down their interest costs. LED lamps' purpose is to reduce consumption and improve the efficiency. We are working on a holistic Uday plan, which, since you don't normally cover my beat, is available on the website. Send somebody in the office to get a few copies of Uday also, because there are many friends here who don't cover the beat normally. So get a few books of that Uday. Those of you who have not read Uday, and my beat reporters will get angry if I repeat it. Like a school teacher, I keep saying, have you read 72 slide presentation? But I would urge you, please read that. It'll give you a lot of confidence in your country, in your colleagues. After all, they're all public servants. Now they're all working for you only. It'll give you confidence how much focused effort they're doing so that every consumer can get power, how the DISCOM's losses should be brought down, how power should be made cheaper, how every part of India. I don't play politics. Whether it is Kerala, whether it is Karnataka, whether it is Uttarakhand, whether it is Odisha, whether it is West Bengal, and many of them election-going states, Assam. I have never once, you can talk to any chief minister, whatever they come and they ask me, they all go back not only receiving full support on whatever they ask, but I had 2 or 3 always cherries on the top of the cake. So our approach is 125 crore citizens we have to serve. We are improving the state's ability to buy power. Some states have ability, they are not buying power. Look at Andhra Pradesh. When Chandrababu Naidu Garu took charge, it was a power deficient state. He told me I'll convert it to power surplus in 1 year. And he was the second CM. Vasundhara Raje came, then he came to meet me. We gave full support from government. In 7 months, Andhra Pradesh became power surplus. Sadly, one of the states you referred to, we can't even talk to them. I mean, in so many months, when I put too much, I contacted 10 people and put influence, I got 1 phone call. That's all. Otherwise, I'm not able to reach out to them. When Karnataka did not have power and the hydro, water was less this year, even though it's a Congress-ruled state, I did not play politics and say, no, I can't do anything. I personally, and it's not my job as power minister, by the way. It's not my job to call up each state and fold my hands and appeal, give some power to your neighbor Karnataka because they are facing a problem. So I contacted Kerala, which is run by the same party of Karnataka. I talked to the Honorable Chief Minister, he said, talk to my power minister. Fine. I talked to the power minister, he said, no, we can't give any more power. Bad luck. I talked to the other state next to it. Of course, you cannot talk at the highest level, so you have to talk to some lower junior person there. But I didn't take prestige or anything. I talked to whoever I could reach out. Requested, can you give a little power? You have surplus. They refused. So no state in the region was willing to give. I had to use my powers and give Karnataka 200 megawatt unallocated power. We don't play politics. We want to support everybody. Recently, Prahlad Joshi and his colleagues Anant Kumar, Sadanand Gowda, all the MPs from Karnataka came and met me. They said, we have a problem. Hydropower is, one plant has burned down. I don't remember the name. I immediately called up the office. I said, see what we can do. We diverted 318 megawatt power to Karnataka. I am told they are not buying it now. That's a different story. But I am willing to give it. So that's our approach. Sir, about the GAIL pipeline, I don't know that subject, to be honest, because I don't handle petroleum. But I'll make sure somebody from petroleum, will you kindly contact a JS to give him a response, take his number and respond to that. Something I don't know, if I say something I may make a mistake. But I can assure you that if GAIL is doing it, there may be some technical reason. It cannot be about not wanting to lay down that pipeline. And as regards solar power purchase, I am doing power purchase all by bidding. And if some of my beat reporters here will confirm to you, if any of you were there, I have said it on many occasions, not once, many occasions. I have advised states, follow my principle of bidding. Would you have heard that from me many times? Not once, but many times all of you cover my beat. I publicly appeal to all states that please buy power only by bidding, particularly solar, because it is in bulk. If there's a 1 megawatt, 2 megawatt, probably you can't do a bidding. But wherever there's bulk purchase, do bidding, na? Give everybody equal opportunity. Why do you pick and choose? Because there's no process, and it's like giving out coal mines. So yes, you must ask that question, but not to me, but to that state which is responsible for it.
Now Tarun Nangia, please.
He already has the mic, आप उसके बाद पूछ लेना.
Tarun.
In 2012 and 13, during the erstwhile UPA government, there was a mismatch between the production of coal and the requirement of the power sector. So the government introduced retrospective conditions and asked power plants that you will be supplied coal only 65 to 68% of the annual contract quantity. Now that we are sitting on so much of surplus of coal, do you think that condition which was retrospectively introduced?
Incidentally, we have already instructed all the coal companies to give them their full 85% or whatever they are eligible for. This instruction went 2 months ago. You don't publicize your instructions, so you don't get a good report in the press because of that. Next year it will become 75%, but we have already instructed all coal companies that whoever wants, they can lift right up to that full 85%.
One more question is that, see, banks are reluctant to disperse to companies as they don't have
As they don't have?
fuel supply agreements. Also, some of the model bidding documents also state that you need to have an FSA. So, any clarity on these two issues, please?
Yes, we are already at a very advanced stage in the Ministry of Coal to work out for the non-regulated sector how we'll give out coal linkages. I've already announced to you, I think next month or so, probably April end or May or so, we'll start the process for the non-regulated sector where linkages will be bid out, sir, in a transparent manner, equal opportunity for all. We'll offer it to people, they can bid and take the linkage for a defined period up to a maximum of 15 years. For the regulated sector, it's a little bit more complicated process, particularly because the end product power is regulated, and we want to keep the costs as reasonable and low as possible. Yet we want a mechanism which is simple to operate and which gives everybody equal opportunity. So we are working out that mechanism. Very shortly you will be, I won't say very shortly, but because we have to finalize it, then do interministerial consultation and then go to cabinet. So it may take a couple of months, I would think. But by and large, Ministry of Power and Coal have agreed on the formulation, both for those states which want to bid out fresh PPAs. We'll have one mechanism for states which want to bid out fresh PPAs. They will be given linkages to the state governments, and we will insist that they bid it out through a transparent mechanism. For people that, okay, coal is available, let's say in Ghevra mine, 2 million tons, who will give us the cheapest power using that coal? So coal price will be as per the Coal India price or whatever is the notified price, and people will bid on their fixed cost and transportation and all that. They'll take into consideration and bid out a price. So it will be an equal level playing field for everyone. Whatever with that process, whatever comes in afterwards. Let the cabinet take that call. And second, for those who have PPAs but do not have fuel supply agreement, which you asked me, for those we are working on creating a second window of auction or bidding for those companies so that they can also start getting linkages gradually, and this problem can once and for all be history in this country.
Navin
Mr.
Sinha
Goel,
ji.
related to this solar thing in Tamil Nadu,
What thing?
the solar power, this
हाँ, इसको थिंग मत बोलिए सर, हम लोग दिन रात इस पे मेहनत करते हैं.
whatever we show, that the price difference in two states, do you think that it should be revised and should be readjusted accordingly?
Sir, please let's first de-link your question into two parts. As regards the price discovery process, clearly there has to be a more transparency and the process has to be distinctly transparent. Even having said that, to encourage Make in India program, to encourage people to set up manufacturing in India, I'll be happy to have a process where we need not go in for bidding because everybody is not setting up domestic manufacturing. And in our tariff policy also, we have provided that those to some states to encourage power generation in their state can have a certain portion of the power through a price which is set by the regulator. That process has been provided in the tariff policy, am I right? Yeah, so tariff policy provides for that. To encourage Make in India also, I am happy to have a separate dispensation which can have the state regulator discover the price or determine the price. And regulators do a fairly good job. I have full faith and trust in the regulators. So that is one aspect. The second aspect, what you are asking, is the price in different states. Now, everybody, please be very clear. No two bids can have the same price necessarily. It may, by coincidence, have the same price. But the price can differ from bid to bid for a variety of factors. Factors can be, A, the irradiation. How much sun is there, how many hours, how many days of the year. So what is the total power generated? One factor. B, who is the bidder? Is it a weak DISCOM or a strong DISCOM? What is the track record of that DISCOM? Is it NTPC, which is a AAA rated company? Is it SECI? So bidders could differ all over the country. As I just said, Coal India may get the best price. If it is bidding in a state which has high radiation, because their balance sheet is the best in the country, and amongst the various power companies and coal companies. So it all depends on the counterparty risk. Based on that, the debt cost, interest cost, and the return on equity expectation is determined. So there are several factors which will determine the pricing. So please do not try and compare one price to the other only on the basis of the state.
Friend from the back row, please.
There was a project, solar rooftop power plant with a 50% subsidy. Solar rooftop power plant.
Solar rooftop power.
So will you continue that subsidized scheme?
It was not 50% ever. It is 30% subsidy for solar rooftops and 90% in the backward.
No, it was 50%.
Abhi bhi hai? In the off-grid solar, it is 90%. In grid connected, it is 70% for the northeast states. That scheme has been recently approved by the cabinet. It is already there on the website. I would urge you to look up the website. That details of that scheme are available on that. So that rooftop may be given a support for a short period. We have had that scheme continued.
Friend.
Sir, when will the Uday bonds hit the market and how will it be issued?
What?
The Uday bond.
Uday bonds.
Yeah, when will it hit the
That's for
market?
the DISCOM and the banks. They are all working it out.
Right.
It's a process which takes a little time. Cabinet only approved it in November.
Right.
We are now finalizing first the agreements with the states. Only last month we have signed some 6 agreements so far. So it takes a little time.
This fiscal, sir?
In the case of 4 states,
Right.
Ministry of Finance has already approved the issuing of certain amount of bonds. And now they are in dialogue with the banks and with the Reserve Bank of India to carry that process forward. I don't micromanage on a daily basis. It doesn't matter to me whether it's done tomorrow, day after tomorrow, end of this month,
And
next
which are
month.
these 4 states, sir, if you may?
They are UP, Rajasthan, Jharkhand and Chhattisgarh.
And how are the issue going to, how are these bonds going to be issued? Is it going to be direct?
That the DISCOM and RBI will sort out themselves. We are not micromanaging the DISCOM's issuing of bonds, sir. State Finance Department and RBI are working out. Some may want to offer it in the market. Some may want to take it because the pricing today is quite attractive. So many banks want to take it up themselves without offering to the market. Some want to offer it to LIC, PPF, EPFO, all of them.
Thank you, sir.
Jyoti.
There's in the finance bill there is a provision which
Jyoti.
in the finance bill there's a provision where the accelerated depreciation benefit has been reduced for renewable energy companies. So What is your view
Well,
on
it's a part of the roadmap that the finance minister had already announced last year. We all knew that there will be a roadmap for phasing out exemptions so that the overall tax rate can be brought down and we can have a much more simplified tax regime. I heartily welcome that. And today my power sector is on its own quite capable of withstanding all competition internationally or nationally. We don't need any sops or any clutches to run the power sector.
just one more thing. India's case with the US on domestic content requirement for solar program, India has lost that case. What is your plan of action?
Well, there are so many cases that happen in WTO. You win some, you lose some, then you go in appeal. So we'll obviously be going in appeal against that. It's a program that was started in the earlier government, which is under appeal. It is going to be appealed against, I think, very soon. Yeah, we'll be going in for an appeal against that.
Sir, Sanjay Sharma, right side.
पीयूष जी, मेरे दो सवाल हैं आपसे। पहला सवाल, जब आप पावर मिनिस्टर बने थे तो आपने कहा था कि कंज्यूमर अपनी सर्विस प्रोवाइडर कंपनी को चेंज कर सकता है, जैसे मोबाइल कंपनियों की तरह में मोबाइल चेंज कर सकता है। ये कब से शुरू हो सकता है? एक। दूसरा सवाल सर, बजट से जुड़ा हुआ है। ये ईपीएफ पीपीएफ का क्या चक्कर है सर? ये क्या झमेला पड़ा है सर? ईपीएफ का क्या झमेला पड़ा सर? टैक्स पे जो
पावर कोल
सर, ये दोनों सवाल
बोल दूंगा, मुझे कोई आपत्ति नहीं। आपको जो पूछना है पूछिए। गेल का नहीं बोल पाया क्योंकि मुझे वो टेक्निकल डिटेल्स नहीं है, नहीं तो जवाब दे देता जरूर। पहला सवाल क्या था? हाँ, बड़ा दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण स्थिति है। मैं आप लोग से अपील करता हूं कि ये सवाल आप लोग सब पूछिए, लेकिन जिसको पूछना चाहिए उसको जाके पूछिए। वो मैं इससे जवाब नहीं दे सकता हूं क्योंकि मैंने इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल बनाया, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी बिल को पावर टू चेंज सर्विस प्रोवाइडर रखा, पर जो विपक्ष के कई राज्य सरकारें उन्होंने उस पर ऑब्जेक्शन डाल दिया। उनको मैंने बहुत कोशिश की समझाने की कि भाई ऑब्जेक्ट क्यों कर रहे हो, आपके उपभोक्ताओं को लाभ होगा, कंज्यूमर के लिए कुछ तो दिल में धड़कन में चिंता होनी चाहिए। लेकिन उन्होंने फिर भी ऑब्जेक्शन करी, फिर भी मैंने उसको क्लॉज को रखा और राज्य सरकारों को अभी सक्षम बना दिया है। तो अगर दिल्ली की सरकार चाहे तो वो कल से कर सकती है, जैसे ही वो बिल पास हो। तो पहले तो आपको एक पार्टी को पूछना पड़ेगा कि वो संसद चलने दे और हम कुछ संसदीय कार्य कर सकें जिससे ये पावर में दे सकूं। पहली बात, इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अमेंडमेंट एक्ट इज ऑलरेडी लिस्टेड, वी हैव टू डिस्कस दैट एंड अप्रूव इट इन बोथ हाउसेस। इसलिए नहीं कर रहे कि पहले दिखे तो सही पार्लियामेंट चल रहा है, और हो जाएगा तो हम तुरंत पेश करके वो पावर दे देंगे स्टेट्स को, और फिर वो स्टेट्स के निर्भर करेगा वो कब अपने कंज्यूमर्स के चिंता करें, कब कंज्यूमर्स को ये अधिकार दें। क्योंकि केंद्र सरकार के पास वो अधिकार मैं देना चाहता था इलेक्ट्रिसिटी अमेंडमेंट एक्ट से कि कंपलसरी होना चाहिए, पर राज्य सरकार ने मेरे हाथ को बांध दिया और संघीय ढांचे में मेरे पास एक सीमित वो है।
श्रेया,
पीएफ का मैं अलग से बोल दूंगा, नहीं तो मेरा पावर का आप रिपोर्ट करने के बदले पीएफ पे ले जाओगे।
श्रेया,
पर रिपोर्ट उसका जवाब जरूर दे दूंगा। वैसे मेरे कल के परसों के टीवी पे देख लो तो 10 बार जवाब दे चुका हूं मैं।
श्रेया प्लीज।
Sir, you mentioned that you have exceeded the target of transmission. I wanted to ask by how much first. Second, how much has it facilitated power supply, and has there been any considerable decrease in the power price due to same?
Oh wow, wonderful question. In fact, you were the first madam to report one nation, one grid, one power cost. And frankly, when I came to know about that from her report in Business Standard, and thank you very much for that. But you answered my question in your own article, madam. Obviously, power costs has significantly come down in South India. Every time I go to Karnataka, every time I go to Tamil Nadu, every time I go to Kerala, I was recently in Nellore, where Chandrababu Naidu Garu on the stage acknowledged the big contribution of Prime Minister Modi's government to bring down power cost in his state. Telangana CM KCR Garu was in my office last month complimenting all my colleagues for having helped him bring down power costs. Obviously, because of that 71% increase in transmission lines to South India from 3,450, It increased, it's a little more than that, it's a little more. I'll tell you exactly how much it has increased. No, it has been enhanced by 2,450 megawatt in last 18 months. 71% increase, it is today 5,900 megawatt. 5,900 megawatt against 3,450. 71% increase, which has actually started now leading to a significant reduction, coupled with increased coal supply to all the south-based thermal plants, coupled with the thrust on renewable energy. So when you put all of that together, this has resulted in significant fall. We will shortly be coming out with an app by which you can daily monitor the price at which power is available anywhere in the country. So you can keep, your consumers can start demanding from the state, if power is available at 2 rupees, why am I not getting power? So we are coming out with that to strengthen and empower all of you to monitor the states also, instead of all the time focusing on articles about my work. And secondly, so I've given you how much the target. All India has, last year we did some 22,800 circuit kilometers and some 65,000 MVA transformational capacity last year. This year, I think we are already at 24,500 or something. So both years we have exceeded the target in transmission.
Sumit,
थोड़ा
I
informal
also
discussion
intended to know the projects that you were planning to
Last
tender.
question,
Sorry?
Sumit.
I also, the projects that you were planning to tender, you announced last year. Where has the target been on that?
I don't have it off the cuff, but we've done a lot of tendering. Maybe you can talk to Jyoti Arora afterwards later in the day. She'll share full details with you. By the way, my target for increasing transmission to South India now is 80% growth beyond 5,900. So I want to increase further 80% in the next 18 to 24 months. So effectively it will go up to about 9,000 something. So effectively Prime Minister Modi's government would have tripled the transmission to South India in the first 3.5 years. And in the next few months you will see the power price further becoming more lower and lower, which will serve consumers in Tamil Nadu, Kerala, Puducherry, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh and Telangana. So I see many journalists here from all these states. Please take this message back to your states also. All these states will benefit in the days to come beyond what they have already benefited.
We have invited
Message taken. We have invited regional media today, but I will henceforth make it a rule that all my interaction, all regional media is invited. Make sure about that, Malhotra ji.
Sumit and Rajesh.
Sumit from Financial Express, sir. Recently, Environment Ministry changed some of the emission norms for coal-based thermal plants, and that obviously involves substantial amount of cost. NTPC had said that they would approach the ministry, apprise you of the implications of it. So, what is the progress on that? What is the status on that?
मल्होत्रा जी कल देखना मेरा गला बैठ गया इतने सवाल का जवाब दे दे के मेरे को एक रिपोर्ट देना किसने क्या छापा है इस समय
ठीक है
अगली बार और उसके हिसाब से क्वेश्चन रेज करने देना आपकी यू हैव रेज्ड अ वेरी वैलिड पॉइंट्स आप इन्होंने जो विषय उठाया एकदम सही है एनवायरमेंट मिनिस्ट्री ने बहुत ही एग्रेसिव चैलेंजेस डाल दिए हैं मेरी प्रकाश जावड़ेकर जी ऑनरेबल मिनिस्टर से चर्चा हुई है इस विषय में इसको हम साथ में बैठ के प्रैक्टिकली क्या हो सकते हैं उसके हिसाब से पुनः विचार करेंगे
So norms could change, sir.
नहीं नॉर्म्स को चेंज नहीं किया जाएगा नॉर्म्स को थोड़ा समय दिया जाएगा 2 वर्ष के अंदर वो करना ह्यूमनली इम्पॉसिबल है उतना इक्विपमेंट ही अवेलेबल नहीं है भारत में तो उसको कैलिब्रेट किया जाएगा आगे आने वाले दिनों में
Last question from Rajesh.
Sir, yes, sir. You mentioned you would be able to collect about 40,000 crores from the coal cess.
Over next, maybe this year, but certainly after next year.
Okay.
Per year.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, what is the kind of, what is the per ton number and the production, the national production?
400 रुपए is the number.
Yeah.
आप मैथ्स कर लो यार, बड़ा सिंपल है.
सर 400 रुपए के हिसाब से आज तो नहीं होगा ना सर 40,000 crores.
आज तो मैंने कभी भी नहीं कहा है.
हाँ, next year कितना?
नेक्स्ट ईयर और द ईयर आफ्टर. तो आप अंदाजा लगा लो उसका क्या मतलब है. 100 करोड़ टन हम क्रॉस कर जाएंगे कंजम्पशन.
Okay, so we can conclude from here that the cess will not rise from here, right? Any further?
ऐसा कुछ होता है क्या? मैंने कभी भी ऐसा कहा? ये कोई वो कांग्रेस की डिमांड की तरह थोड़ी है कि क्या उस जीएसटी पे कैप होना चाहिए, कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल कैप. वी आर एनवायरमेंटली कॉन्शियस रिस्पॉन्सिबल गवर्नमेंट. जैसा मैंने कहा, उदय से 1,80,000 करोड़ का सालाना लाभ जनता को मिलने वाला है. लेकिन साथ ही साथ मुझे ऊर्जा सुरक्षा, एनर्जी सिक्योरिटी बहुत अहम मुद्दा है मेरे लिए. एंड आई वांट टू बी मेक श्योर दैट दिस गवर्नमेंट provides cheap electricity facilitation, not only for this first term of ours, but for many more terms to come. So we will continue to provide cheap power, low cost power to our people, for which renewable energy gives me a great strength. After all, 4 rupees 34 paisa, 434, the last, or even 463, solar prices are for 25 years fixed. And the Honorable Son, Honorable की आदत ज्यादा ही पड़ गई है, but the most revered son is not going to charge a tax for beaming down on India every year. But certainly if we don't protect the climate and environment, then certainly the sun also will suffer. So I want to make sure that we encourage renewable energy and clean environment.
Thank you,
Let's have
sir.
informal
Thank you, media friends. Please join us for
Thank
lunch
you.
in the lawns. And we have a Garv app on the left side of the stage. I request you to have a